Are you looking to grow revenues, increase profitability, or obtain financing? If so, you came to the right place.
Running a business is all about leadership. How do you become a better leader? Learn from the successful entrepreneurs and business owners how to lead your organization more effectively. That's why we created Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business, to help you succeed with your host, Andrew Frazier, Business Growth Pro and CFO and founder of the Small Business Pro University. Every Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern, we're joined by experienced entrepreneurs and business owners who share their secrets to success via live stream. Also, every Friday morning, we release a new podcast episode. Either way, you will learn about developing your business leadership skills from our roster of highly performing guest experts. Leadership Live is one of the many valuable resources provided through the Small Business Pro University, empowering business owners to learn, profit, and grow. Find out more at sbpro.u.com.
Good evening and welcome back to Leadership Live at 8:05. I'm your host, Andrew Frazier, and excited to be here with you once again on Tuesday evening. As you know, I always look forward to Tuesday evenings and always appreciate everybody tuning in, appreciate your comments, appreciate your questions, your likes, and just really, want to have a great show again tonight. So thank you again. Wherever you're from, if you can, take a minute. Put where you're from, what city, what state, what country. Just let us know, check in and say what's up. So as you know, each week we have a tremendous guest, and really excited about tonight's show because my guest tonight, she's on my podcast now, but I've been on her podcast as well. So definitely in business, it's important to collaborate with people. And, this is a great example of how that works. So tonight we're going to talk about something that, a lot of times we don't think about enough. And it's building a business that fits your life, not the other way around. At the end of the day, your business, you're in business, you should be in the business for it to make your life better. And unfortunately, many people forget that along the way. And, sometimes it actually makes your life worse. But that's not what you should be doing. So this will be a good reminder of how important that is. But not only that, it's easy to slip away from really what you had planned originally. So our guest, Kandas Rodarte, she's going to share a lot of valuable insights, because if there's one thing I know, she really loves her business and she has fun with it. And that's what you should be doing as well. So let me invite Kandas on real quick. Hey, Kandas, how you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm fabulous. How you doing?
I'm excellent. Thanks again for joining me tonight. Definitely I know how busy you are and all the things you do. So it's great that you're able to join us tonight and share your experience, perspective, and expertise with the audience.
Should be fun.
Excellent. So really looking forward to it. But before we dig into the topic, I think it's important for people to know a little bit about your journey. Where did you come from? How did you get where you are now? What were some of the key things that along the way that, informed you and really drove you to where you are now? So feel free to take a few minutes and just sort of introduce yourself and share a little bit about your journey.
Well, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. I am the daughter of a career military person. My father was a civil servant his entire career. And so that meant we moved a lot, which meant that I needed to learn how to get along with people, because I was around new people all the time. And so my mom taught me this skill. Everybody loved my mother. She was always the light, life of the party. And she just taught me how important it was to collect people. And when I say collect people, I mean friends. I mean, at Christmas, we would write hundreds of Christmas cards. We would just line up around, we'd sit around the table, all of us, and we would all write Christmas cards to hundreds of people because my mom collected people. And she was also an excellent salesperson. So when I started my career, I started my career in sales. I worked for the North Face when I think I went to work for them when I was 21 years old, and I quickly became the number one inside sales rep in the company. I was managing multi-million, tens of millions of dollars worth of inventory, moving it and just keeping customers happy because my mom taught me to collect people. And then I moved to Texas. I got recruited into another company. I moved to Texas. Didn't like that job at all, was not happy, but the reason why I had to move to Texas was so I could meet my husband. And long story short, my husband and I started a business in 1998. We thought it would be I want you to hear the year again, 1998. We thought it would be a fantastic idea to sell handmade custom furniture on the internet in 1998. Nobody did it. No one was doing it. So we basically had to pioneer the process. So we created a system to sell handcrafted custom furniture on the internet. By 2004, we had retail stores in 25 different states selling our products. And by 2008, we were in Elle Decor magazine in a feature spread. So we, in a 10-year time, we took something that was this crazy idea and we made something really amazing. And then in 2014, I was diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer. And so we had to do a huge shift. We had to learn to continue to have a business, but working around the fact that I had this illness that I'm so lucky to still be alive today, but I am living with metastatic breast cancer, stage 4 cancer, and I have been since 2014. So we had to, again, shift. And then in 2017, we thought it would be a great idea to retire. So I was 47 and my husband was 49 and we retired and we moved to Michigan and we shifted again, started over again. And it's just been a constant series of shifts, regrouping and moving forward. But the thing that I have learned is that you just keep going. You don't let setbacks hold you back. That's my story.
And you're sticking to it. Excellent. So I learned some things there as well. I always like people to introduce themselves because, I always learn new things about them, but also just the journeys are so interesting. Everybody's is different. And you pick up different things along your journey. So furniture on the internet.
In 1998. I want you to do that math.
Well, my internet story is, I went to MIT in 1987, and they had this place. It was called Project Athena, and it was actually the internet. They were creating the internet there, but I didn't really care. I walked by it all the time. I didn't even realize it. But so it's amazing how the internet has changed our lives.
And that was in 87.
That was 87.
Wow.
So yeah. So
so just 10 years later, I was selling furniture.
Right.
Yeah, that's how quickly that developed.
So it's good to have a early start. So just like with AI now, if you're gonna get benefits if you start sooner rather than later. So now we do this show through my Small Business Pro University, and it's one of our Brain Trust initiatives. But before we get started, it'd be good for people to know, what is Small Business Pro University? So I have a short video about Small Business Pro University. Then I'll come back talking small business with Kandas. Many small businesses experience low or no revenue growth, and the owners are not making enough money. I founded Small Business Pro University to help you break that cycle by empowering you with greater knowledge and enhanced skills to lead your organization more effectively. Over the past 15 years, I have collaborated with organizations like the Small Business Development Center, Rising Tide Capital, Empower the Village, NJMEP, Rutgers University, and SCORE to work one-on-one with over 1,000 business owners and teach tens of thousands of people about business. My experience includes serving as a naval officer, managing businesses, graduating from MIT, earning an MBA from NYU, and achieving the CFA designation, which has prepared me to accomplish my mission of helping 1,000,008 business owners to sell more, maximize profit, and finance growth by 2028. My vision is to create the ultimate business ecosystem for entrepreneurs. Small Business Pro University empowers entrepreneurs like you to run their businesses more professionally and create sustainable enterprises. We employ my proven proprietary Masterpreneur Playbook framework to guide your journey along the Masterpreneur path and facilitate your Masterpreneur evolution to work on your business and scale faster and easier. Small Business Pro University provides access to valuable resources, partnerships, and relationships that will help you to sell more, maximize profit, and finance growth. Our Masterpreneur initiatives include the Small Business Pro Network, 100+ expert-led multimedia courses, intensive training workshops, Spanish language training, Leadership Live at 8:05 live stream and podcast, in-person Power Breakfast events, and advisory coaching, consulting, and training services. All right, welcome back. I'm here with Kandas, Rodarte. We're talking small business, and we're talking about building a business that fits your life, not the other way around. So, Kandas, why is that such a difficult thing for so many people to do with their business?
Oh, that's a great question. So first of all, it's Rodarte.
Oh, Rodarte.
So pronounce the E. Yeah. So most people, when they think about owning a business, they're thinking about corporate America, and they're thinking about structuring their business around what they see corporations doing, 9 to 5, yada, yada, yada. And that's well and good if that's what they want. But, you know, people have kids, people have lives. And if you structure your day the way that you would if you went to a job, then why in the world are you doing that? You know, why don't you just have a job? So take advantage of the fact that you have the flexibility and structure your business around your life. You know, what is it that I want to do? Something that was really important to me when my daughter was small. We started our business when we were pregnant. And so I built this business from scratch while I was pregnant and then while I was nursing. So I had to build it around my child. But then when she went to school, I wanted to be there when she got on the bus, and I wanted to be there when she got off the bus. So I structured my schedule around her. When we figured out that we could no longer work together in the same building and make it work to, so that when we first started our business, I had an office at our manufacturing facility. When we realized that wasn't feasible because I wanted to be mommy too, we built a home office at home, and we figured out how to run the business from the home office while we had our staff and everybody at the, and luckily the internet existed, right? You can't do that without an internet, but you just figure out ways to make it work. Because the number one priority for me was that I was there for my daughter, right? So we structured everything around what was important to us. And for a lot of people, they don't see that because they're thinking about the 40-hour work week. And this is what we're told we're supposed to do, when You don't have to do anything you're told to do because it's your business. You get to decide.
Definitely. That's a great point. In my book, one of the things I talk about in the chapter is it me or are my employees crazy? And, definitely that's a challenging point for a lot of business owners bringing in their employees. But at the end of the day, if the employees aren't working out, it's not really their fault, it's your fault.
Mm-hmm.
And just like if your life and your business aren't working out, you're the only one that has the power to fix it. So you got to look inward rather than outward many times to find the alignment. So now, you work with a lot of people, and you also help others. And everybody has their own distinct personality type. And I would say, it's easier for you to do this than for other people to do this, just the way, your personality, from what I'm seeing, your journey, to be independent and make decisions like that. How do you help other people do that?
Well, first of all, you have to identify what they are capable of doing. You can't force someone to do something that's not within their bandwidth, right? I have a friend who's also a podcast host. She doesn't like anybody to tell her what to do, so she's not going to do it, right? And you can't coach. She's not my client, she's a friend, but you can't coach someone who's not going to do anything that they're told to do, that they should do, right? So you have to identify what their personality type is, and then push them to make take the actions that move them to the next level, right? But you cannot force anybody to do anything. Only I can make myself do something. All you can do is cheer them on and try to show them the way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's no forcing. There's no making anybody do anything. You force yourself. That's a quote from Harrison Ford. He didn't believe in the Force. Star Wars. He didn't believe in the Force because you have to force yourself. So, I don't know if I agree with him.
Right. Well, a little like Michael Gerber. One of his things is you can't manage people. You can only manage systems.
Mm-hmm.
So,
oh yeah.
And processes. So, definitely, people have to own their own destiny. And it plays out time and time again. So now, we've got some questions about burnout. Have you ever been burnt out? How do you avoid burnout? What is burnout?
That is a very interesting question, because I think that when you are designing a business around your life rather than a life around a business, that there is very little room for burnout because you're always enjoying what you're doing, right? So avoiding burnout means stop doing the things that make you burn out, right? If it drains you, figure out how not to do that anymore, right? If you hate the bookkeeping, hire a bookkeeper. Don't do it's like who's that comedian? Bob Newhart. Stop it. Just stop it. But I hate to make jokes about it, but yeah, avoiding burnout is just not doing the things that would cause you to feel the burnout, or figuring out, having the systems in place. Oh my God, systems are so important. I have systems for everything. I have a system for the way that I write blog posts, right? I have a formula and a system for everything. I have so many systems in place. And because I have the systems in place, everything is easy and seamless. So there's no room for me to burn out. Now, do I have bad days? Do I need to rest every once in a while? Yes. So do you. But then you come back from it.
Definitely. And yeah, I mean, sometimes you need a weekend or a long weekend or maybe a week to get back to yourself. But as long as you control your destiny, you should be able to avoid that. So now, we talked a little bit about the business fitting your life. But but your business also has to make money. So, so how did you make your business make money and match with your life?
So here's the secret to surviving a difficult economic time. Rich people always have money.
Mhm.
So you price your product and you target the clients that have the money. I mean, I know that sounds awful, but everything in our business changed when we raised our prices.
Mhm.
Seriously, when we were selling our product for a price that we thought most folks could afford, it was really hard to get people to place orders when times were tough. But when we tripled our prices,
Mhm.
yeah, we never had any problems again.
Okay.
Because people, this is it's pricing psychology. Some people look at prices and they want to buy the least expensive one, but then some people look at prices and they want to buy the most expensive one, because price for a lot of people equals quality. We had an extremely high quality product. We were underpriced, and when we brought our price up to where it needed to be, that's when everything changed.
Okay. And that's a great point, because most small businesses undercharge.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand it. I mean, I've done that. I do that sometimes because it's easy to sort of just want to hedge. But definitely, you're only going to get what you ask for, and sometimes people are expecting what you're offering to be more expensive than it is, or they may not perceive it in the right way. So.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's not true for everything. We were making a very high-end specialty product.
Mhm.
So you can't make a plastic widget and charge 3 times as much or 10 times as much as your competition because it's a plastic widget. We were
Right.
making something very unique and special.
Okay.
So perceive, there is pricing it's a really tough conversation, and you can't just make a broad generalization over just price it higher and you'll get more business. We had a very narrow niche and a very particular client. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's a good point, because every business is different.
Mm-hmm.
And even every business in the same industry is different.
Mm-hmm.
So you do have to look at, your marketing and your sales strategy on a individual basis. So,
Can I give you an example? Because I have one right here on my desk.
okay.
This is a upcycled water bottle. It was a kombucha bottle. It's a really great bottle. So I just cleaned it and I use it over and over again instead of water bottles, because I'm kind of, I want to be nice to the planet. So I don't want to use plastic bottles, right?
Right.
So the same size bottle with a blue glass and kind of a fancier lid sells for $8 on Amazon. And this was a $2.50 kombucha.
Hmm.
Right? It's perception. It's perception.
So definitely. So, yeah. And sometimes it's just packaging.
Uh-huh.
Or branding.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely, one of the things that most business owners have challenges with, and I always ask them, what's your most important job as a business owner? And it's really sales and marketing. I found that
I was going to say that my most important job as a business owner was being a mom.
Okay.
That was my most important job, was mom. And everything else I did around that.
True. Okay.
But sales and marketing is number 2.
Okay. So before you had your kids, or when they left, dude,
this is 2025. They don't leave. They never leave. I have friends with kids in their 30s that are still at home. Kids do not leave in 2025.
Okay. Well, I guess I'm my daughter just got a job in Charlotte, North Carolina, so she's leaving on Saturday.
Oh,
So,
exciting. My whole family
so
lives in Charlotte. How exciting. It's a nice town.
yeah. So that's exciting. So one down, one to go. She was probably the easier one to get out, though. But it's always good having your kids there when they're a little older and wiser and think you're smarter. So
That's true. The older you get, the smarter you are in your kids' eyes.
yes, definitely. So so now, one of the things that you mentioned that you do that's new with your husband, and I think that's one of the things that allows you to really enjoy your business, is you're talking about a new podcast.
Oh,
Can
yeah.
you talk a little bit about what that is and why you started it and the benefits of doing that?
So again, we retired in 2017, and so now my husband is he's decided that he wants to reinvigorate. Well, it's been 8 years, so he is an established artist now, but he draws and paints. That's what he's doing. And then I have a coaching business, and I've had my podcast since 2014. When I started my podcast, there are 300,000 podcasts, and I'm still here today. And there's like 3 million of them now. So my podcast has been around a long time, but I was getting a little burnt out because I was having a lot of conversations about, pay-per-click marketing and things like that. They were just draining me. I wasn't enjoying those conversations anymore. And I really was thinking it is time for me to sunset this podcast. I've been doing it long enough. And then I was a frequent guest on a show called the Biz Book Broadcast. It's hosted by Liz Scully. It's a fantastic podcast if you like to read business books, because it's called Biz Book Broadcast. So it's a podcast about business books. So I was on her show a handful of times, and we talked about different books that I love. And I was like, I really love to read sci-fi. Maybe if I started a second podcast where I got to talk about sci-fi books, it would give me something fun. This is managing burnout, right? Because I was starting to get a little burnt out with my main podcast, Gratitude Geek. So I need something fun to do. And when my husband found out that I was doing this, he was like, well, can I do it too? So now my husband and I co-host the show, and we bring really fun people on the show to talk about sci-fi books. And the guest gets to pick the book. And it is a much different animal than building a custom furniture business together. Because a podcast is way more intimate. In the custom furniture business, I had my job, he had just his job, and we made it work. With the podcast, we were both there together. It's been very interesting, but it's also been a lot of fun because we've read books that I had never even heard of. So it's been a lot of fun to do that. And it's also been a little bit of fun to work with my husband again, because it has been, I don't know, how many years is that? 7 years since we worked together. So it's been fun.
Okay, excellent.
And there's a way to manage burnout. If something doesn't bring you joy anymore, find something that does.
There you go. Yeah. Sometimes you got to say no, or cut off things that aren't working for you anymore. So,
well, but the thing is, since I started that new podcast, Gratitude Geek has become a lot more fun again.
Okay.
So, maybe I'm just more picky about the guests that I bring on the show.
That too. Sometimes you got to do that. So, we've been covering the topic fairly well, but I'm going to take a quick break now. We're coming up on 5 years of the live stream and over 250 guests.
So exciting.
And very exciting. So we're actually going to celebrate it in a big way. So September 30th, in 2 weeks from today. So here's a little bit about our 5th year anniversary celebration. Hi, Andrew here, and I'm excited to celebrate 5 years of leadership, small business insights, and powerful conversations with more than 250 guest experts. Leadership Live at 805 is celebrating its 5th anniversary, and you're invited. Join us in person at Sankofa Cafe in Montclair, New Jersey, or online via YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, or Twitch on Tuesday, September 30th from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. We're also launching a brand new book, 99 Proven Tips to Accelerate Your Masterpreneur Journey, featuring wisdom from the incredible guests who have joined us on the podcast. In-person guests will receive a signed copy of the new book, meet and connect with guest experts featured in the book, and connect with like-minded entrepreneurs, business owners, and organizational leaders. 5 years behind us, the future ahead. Come celebrate, learn, and grow with us. I look forward to seeing you on September 30th. Space is limited for the special anniversary celebration, so don't wait. Click the button or scan the QR code to register at www.sbprou.com/5-years to secure your spot today. Okay, welcome back. I'm here with Kandas. We're talking small business. Our topic is building a business that fits your life, not the other way around. So now, Kandas, one of the things that is central to being successful in business is planning. And especially if your business is going to fit your life, you have to plan it. So now, what is your planning process? And how do you plan for your business?
I'm not a very good planner. I am a shoot from the hip kind of person. However, I do. Okay, so my business now is way different than it was. So I'm going to speak about what I do today rather than the business that gave us the life that we have today, right? Our business that we built for 20 years gave us the life that we have today. So, but I'm doing something different now. So I have a very small group coaching program for female solopreneurs, and I have a blog and my podcasts, right? So I have those are my buckets. And when it comes to content for the podcast and the blog, I do themes. So this is September. September is Self-Care Awareness Month. So for the month of September, I'm putting out a lot of self-care content and talking to my podcast guests about self-care. Next month is October. So for the month of October, we'll be talking about breast cancer awareness because it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. November, we'll be talking about gratitude. My show is called Gratitude Geek. So we're going to be talking about how to use gratitude as a business strategy, which it is. So I have monthly themes, and within those themes, I'm able to get things done. But in terms of planning, I'm a high level planner. Let me put it to that. I don't put it. I'm a high level planner who has systems there. So my systems keep me on track. The plan could go astray, right? But the system brings it back to the track to where it needs to be. Like, okay, does that make sense?
No, that makes sense. And the other thing about planning is, that doesn't mean you have to write a 50-page report. Double spaced.
Yeah.
Your plan could even be a list.
Yeah.
And you can't have systems without planning what they're going to be. Mm-hmm. And taking the time to think about what they should be. So even though
it's really amazing how quickly you can do things when you've taken the time to put the system in place. Because the system does take time, and you tweak it every once in a while, but if the system works, you can just plug in anything to it. Right.
And like 5 years with the live stream, it's a process, and it's well oiled. I have a great team, so I pretty much do the show and set things up with the guests, and everything else just happens. So, that's the power of really having a system and being able to set things up so that it can be done consistently. So, Excellent. So now, one of the things that's always difficult for business owners is employees. And a lot of times that can cause more stress in their business than anything else. How did you handle that successfully and still be able to enjoy your business?
We okay, systems. I'm serious. Systems. Because we were making high-end custom furniture and we were hiring high school and college students.
Mm,
So we had to have a cookie cutter system in place so that they would do, I mean, they could be working on an $8,000 table, right?
mm,
We entrusted 17-year-olds to work on this stuff. So the system, they had to learn the system. This is how we do this. You never stray from this system. This is how you do this. You never stray from the system. So that's training, but I guess that is planning. So creating the system is planning, right? It really is. And the other thing is we tried really hard to make everybody who ever worked for us feel like family. At some point I had counted how many, I mean, our business ran for 20 years. So I counted, and we never had more than 6 employees at once. But over the course of those 20 years, we had over 50 people who came through our doors and worked for us. And we still are in contact with a lot of them. And there are some that I consider family because they were an important part of they are our family. We actually had an employee, his name was Tony. He was killed in an automobile accident the day before his 19th birthday.
mm,
And that was 20 years ago, and I still mourn for him. He was family. And I think when you do that, but also separate the fact that they're not really your family, they work for you. You know, you got to balance it. You
right.
don't let them in. We would do things like co-sign on loans and stuff so that our employees could buy cars, but then we would take out key man insurance on them. Right?
Mm,
If we co-signed a loan, we took out a key man policy. So something happened. So be smart, be generous, but be smart about it.
mhm. Okay. Excellent. And so, that's a good point. In small business, um, it's important to create an environment that um, is conducive to the results that you want to have.
Yeah.
Yes.
And 6 employees is small business.
And-
I mean, yeah.
and especially since you can't pay them what larger companies can pay them. So, in many cases,
Yeah.
um,
But
so
you can create a workplace that makes them want to come to work,
correct, correct.
you know.
And for some people, that's way more valuable.
Mhm.
So definitely, um, and a big piece of that is really the culture.
Mhm.
Many business owners don't really appreciate what culture is, and that managing the culture is their job.
Yeah.
So to really have a business that you enjoy, one of the big things is having the right culture. Um, how did you develop your culture? Was it conscious? Was it unconscious? What things did you try and put into place to create the culture that you felt you needed within the company?
So I actually started working from home um probably 2 years after we launched the business. And so I didn't have much to do with the culture of the company because I wasn't around the staff as much as my husband was. But
Mm,
I do want to share what it was like to work for the North Face. Because when I worked there in the 80s, no, 90s. Yeah, I worked there from 91 to 96 or something like that. When I worked there, it was a very small company. We had maybe 200 people at the home office. And there was manufacturing overseas, but it was a very small, everybody knew everybody. Um, the CEO of the company used to walk around and hand out t-shirts. I mean, he knew everybody's name, and it was just a really, really fun place to work. right? And then the company got bought out by a different corporation, and the home office was moved to a much bigger office, and the company started to take off. So by the time I left, the culture had shifted from a really fun, groovy place to work to corporate America, right? And it felt really weird to go from being this super groovy company that everybody loved working at to being just another job. And I don't know what it's like to work for the North Face today because it's been a long time, but just in that short amount of time, 5-year period, the culture can shift so much. And it was, it was really unfortunate because it was a very groovy place to work.
Mm.
So it's important. And I think that Bill Werlin, who was the CEO, I've interviewed Bill Werlin on my podcast. He was the CEO when I first started working there. He really created a culture of let's have fun when we come to work, and let's make a really high quality product. Nowadays you can find the North Face anywhere, but when I worked there, we were in very high end specialty gift retail stores or sports shops. So he made it a great place to work, and he has a term for it that I can't remember right now, but I'm sure it'll come to me after we hang up.
Okay. Excellent. So, let's, you talked about what you're doing now. You're coaching solopreneurs, and many people listening into the show, and most business people in the US are solopreneurs. Talk a little bit about your experiences with them and sort of the key challenges they have and sort of how you help them to address them.
So I can't remember the numbers right now, but it's something like 90% of businesses in the United States are solo run businesses. That number, we'll have to look that up. Don't quote me on that number, but it's a very high number. And the number that are owned by women is something like 40, 45, 40, in the 40% of them. All right. So women solopreneurs tend to want to do it all. They want to be able to manage everything because there is this culture in the United States that women should be able to manage everything. Like we're super women and we can handle everything. And that's not true. Women need community, right? And it gets really lonely to run a business on your own. Women need I think they need more sleep than men do. I don't know if that's true, but I think women do need more sleep. And we need to give ourselves a little grace. And Clive wants to know how you design a business that's stress-free. I'm sorry, Clive. I'm sorry. I got distracted there. That's funny. You don't. You just learn to have fun. But what I've learned from working with women is that we are so smart. We have such great ideas, right? We have really, really great ideas. And a lot of times we let our brains get in the way of being able to implement the idea. Like a dude, please don't take this the wrong way, Andrew, but a dude could have the worst idea on the planet, but he's got confidence. And so he's going to launch his idea. And a woman can have the best idea in the world, but she's been told her whole life that she's just a woman. She's just a girl. And so she's going to hold herself back from launching her big idea that could change the world. And so it's mindset that women need to work with. They need community and, and stop listening to the naysayers and just do it, because you're not going to know if it's going to work if you don't try.
So
I hope I didn't offend you.
No, no problem. So actually, on that note, I actually work with more women than men. And one of the things
you've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But one of the things that I've found is women tend to want to learn more about business and prepare to be successful more so than men. They wait until they're in trouble and then they look for help. So that's another difference that I tend to see.
Yeah. Yeah, but I had a girlfriend describe going shopping with a man this way. She's like, when a man goes into a grocery store, he's a hunter. He identifies what he's looking for, and then he seeks it out and he gets it and he leaves the store. And when a woman goes to the grocery store, she goes down every single aisle, looks at things, picks things up, reads the labels, keeps going, buys more than she came for. And because we're browsers and we like to study, we like to learn. I am constantly in learning mode. I ask a lot of questions, and it means I know a lot because I ask a lot of questions, but it also means that sometimes I didn't execute because I was spending so much time learning. So that was good advice. There was someone who asked about the advice that I would give to women over 40 who want to restart their business without burning out. When you're over 40, you already know everything you need to know. And it's time for you to take everything that you know and implement it. The burning out part means that if you feel like you're burning out, it means you're not having fun. So figure out a way to have fun, right? If you're having fun, you're never going to burn out. Just keep adding more fuel you'll keep adding fuel to the fire and you'll never burn out. But women over 40, man, there is a reason why grandmothers know a lot. It's because the older women get, the better they get. Okay. So just keep going. Don't look back. Keep going. You have Mac, you have so much to give to the world.
Okay. Definitely.
Sorry, I keep reading the comments.
No,
Maybe I should take my glasses off.
We appreciate everybody's comments. So that's excellent. And everybody, definitely, many people put where they're from. And so definitely invite you to do that. Also, what I'd encourage you to do is, we have people who are in business, not yet in business, were in business. What's your status now? And, how many years have you been in business? So, put that in the chat if you can. Just great to sort of know a little bit more about you and sort of your journey and where you are.
I know that we are getting close to where we need to wrap up. So can we talk about podcasting for a little bit?
Sure.
Because this is a strategy that's on my mind right now. I was actually part of a podcast summit earlier today. I've had a very long day. I've been on Zoom all day or on video all day, but podcasting as a marketing strategy as a business owner is brilliant because you're gonna, first of all, when you go on a podcast, you create a relationship with somebody. You and I know each other because we have a mutual acquaintance who introduced us. And so I invited you to be a guest on my show. You invited me to be a guest on your show. And now we have this collaboration, and who knows what may happen in the future, but we've created multiple pieces of content by this collaboration. And I've helped your audience. You've helped my audience, right? We may not have, I don't think we have crossover clients. I'm helping solopreneur females, and you're looking at bigger small business owners. Yeah. It's a different demographic. But when you have a message that somebody needs to hear, podcasting is a great place to share that message. Not being a host, not starting your own show, being a guest on other people's shows. It is a fantastic strategy to gain credibility and to build your brand. So if you are looking, let me go back to, was it Mac? Mac, my advice to you is to get on some podcasts and start sharing your wisdom, right? Just start spread your wisdom, and then use those podcast episodes to build your brand and to share your message. So repurpose them in any way you possibly can. But I just think podcast guesting is such an untapped way to grow a business right now. Okay. Sorry, I wanted to add that.
Right. And actually what I'd add to that is that, as a business owner, you got to evolve. Mm-hmm. And, your most important skills are sales and marketing. And the skill that you need to successfully do that is communications. And, being on a podcast helps you to be able to communicate better about what you do. This is 5 years. I'm so much better than I was when I started out. It facilitates learning. And, the other side is, someone told me I took to heart before the pandemic is every business needs to be a media business. So whatever business you're in, you need to be in the media one way or another, because someone said, if you like to write, you're a blogger. If you like to if you like to talk off camera, then you're a podcaster. If you like to be on camera, then you're a live streamer. But you need to be one of those three.
And I had a woman actually say that she wasn't in business. She had this monetized blog, but she said she wasn't a business owner. I'm like, you have a monetized blog. You're getting checks from these companies. You have a business.
Yes. So,
but you are absolutely correct. And that there is so much value in earned media too, and learning how to, again, it's, if you're on podcasts, you get comfortable with having those interviews, then you never know when the next interview might be, the front page of your local newspaper or a feature in your local magazine, a local community magazine. That exposure for your small business is huge. Just get comfortable. And podcast is a great way to start, because most podcasts get 30 downloads. Most shows get 30 downloads. So that only 30 people are going to hear what you have to say. So you can practice your message with those podcasts.
Yeah, no, definitely. I agree. So, one thing, the bad part of my show is an hour just isn't long enough to hang out with great people like you, Kandas. So,
we had a great conversation on my show about unpopular opinions that could save your business. It was episode 270. So if they want to hear more of us chatting with each other, they can go and check that out.
Definitely. And in the chat, we've got Kandas's LinkedIn link, or profile link, and also her website link. So, but before we let you go, we want to have you share 3 key things that people should take away based on what we talked about that they can put to work immediately. Because, what good is this if it doesn't help them be more successful? So, if we can distill it down to 3 key things that people can focus on, that's always powerful. So if you could think about that for a minute, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to play you a video. I think this is my first time playing this video on the show. And what we have in this video is you're going to learn a little bit about the book that we have for the 5th anniversary. So here's a little bit about it, and then we'll come back with Kandas on Leadership Live at 8:05. Hi, Andrew here, and I'm excited to announce the launch of our new book, 99 Proven Tips to Accelerate Your Masterpreneur Journey. 5 years, 33 incredible guests, hundreds of powerful business lessons, and now it's all in one place. Introducing 99 Proven Tips to Accelerate Your Masterpreneur Journey, a brand new book built from the insights, wisdom, and strategies shared by the guest experts of our podcast, Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business. Inside, you'll discover actionable tips on how to launch smarter.
So if you have an idea that you have researched and you know who your customer is, and you think that you've got the experience you need, now is a perfect time to start a business. But remember, start as a side hustle first.
Grow faster.
So sales is about problem solving, not about manipulating. You have to understand the math of your business, the sales math.
Lead more effectively.
You shouldn't expect someone to be you. You have to understand and create processes to basically train people on how to handle certain situations and basically set people on the right path, right? So they can become successful within your organization.
And scale your business with confidence.
Bet on yourself and not be afraid to take risks, and to know that you have within you the ability to accomplish your dreams and accomplish your goals.
Think like an entrepreneur. Now, I know there may be many entrepreneurs listening, but there may be some who aren't entrepreneurs. It's all well and good. I'm here to say entrepreneurship is not just something you do, it's a way that you think. And the characteristics of an entrepreneur's thinking are creativity, resourcefulness, courage, resilience, and passion.
This isn't theory, it's practical advice straight from entrepreneurs and thought leaders who have done it. 5 years of conversations, 33 voices of experience, and now 99 tips to accelerate your masterpreneur journey. Get your copy today. Pre-order now to reserve your signed copy. Click the button below or scan the QR code to order from www.sbprou.com/99-tips. All right. Excellent. So, Kandas, the tips in the book are based on the top 3, key takeaways from different shows. So what are your top 3 key takeaways from tonight?
I think that is such a brilliant idea. So my number one key takeaway is collaboration. Find people who serve a similar audience to you and collaborate. Figure out ways to work together. When I had this little greeting card and gift business, I used to hang out at this coffee shop, and I actually started my YouTube talk show in this coffee shop. And so what I did was I worked with the coffee shop owner. She gave me a coupon code, and I sent out a bunch of greeting cards to people in the community and said, come and have a muffin with me. The muffin was free. Buy a coffee, get a muffin free, and come have a muffin and a coffee with me at the coffee shop, and let's do the talk show. And it was a huge success. We collaborated. It was a win-win because people were coming into the coffee shop that wouldn't have come in because they were coming in from that coupon. So find people that serve a similar audience and collaborate. This was Andrew's, but say no if it doesn't serve you or if it doesn't feel good. It's okay to say no. Like, no is not a bad word. Say no. Say no to things that don't feel good, and put your family first. You own a business so that you can be flexible and work with your family. Don't let the business overtake your ability to spend time with your family. Like, I used to take Wednesdays off, and my daughter and I would go to the museum. Right? Just work around your family first. Those are my top 3.
All right. Excellent. So collaboration, definitely, as a small business owner, you don't have the leverage that you have in a larger business. So you have to build it with collaboration, with teams, with other business owners. It's so important if you're going to grow. You can't do everything. And so you have to choose what's right for you. So, and then, this one's hard for me, so I got to admit it. Family first. but I've taken advantage of being in business and spending time with family that I wouldn't have otherwise been able to do in terms of flexibility. But I'd say I probably work more now. But I have more control over it. So, but you also have to make it fit for your family. So having the flexibility or however you do it, it definitely helps. But there's, you figured it out. I'm still working on figuring it out better. But everybody's got a journey. So this has been great, Kandas. I appreciate you coming on.
Congratulations on 5 years. That's huge.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm trying to catch up to you, but I think every year I catch up, you move forward by another year.
It's consistency, and as long as you're having fun, you'll keep doing it.
Yeah, definitely. So, anything you want to share before we close out?
Again, I would love for people to check out our conversation. It's episode 270 of Gratitude Geek on all the places. I'm really honored that you invited me on the show. This has been a lot of fun. It's way past my bedtime. My boundary is usually I stop working at 5. Okay. But for you, I'm here. This was a lot of fun. Thank you. And you have a fantastic audience. Look at all that interaction in the chat. Good job.
Definitely. Thank you. No, definitely. I appreciate the audience. It's always great to have so many people on and participate. And that's why I love doing it live. So
yeah, you've built something good here.
Okay. Thank you. All right. So hang on for a minute as I close out, and we'll go from there. Excellent. So once again, always appreciate everybody tuning in. Definitely enjoyed talking to Kandas tonight. Hopefully you got some valuable insights out of it as well. Each week we have a new show, a new guest. Next week we're going to be talking about why is healthcare so important and what you can do about it. Healthcare, can be scary, especially as a business owner. So definitely something important to talk about. And we have a gentleman who's really in the midst of helping to reshape what healthcare may even be looking like in the future. So don't miss the show. It's going to be powerful, and look forward to having you join us again. And then the week after that is our 5th anniversary. We're going to be live in Montclair, New Jersey, but we're also going to live stream, and we're going to do a 2-hour live stream. We'll have a lot of people who are in the book at the event, so they'll get a chance to say hello. So you get to meet a lot of them as well. So, and then at the end of the day, always remember that the more that you know, the faster and more successfully your business is going to grow.
Thank you for listening to Leadership Live at 805, Talking Small Business. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and to the podcast on your favorite podcast platform. Leadership Live is one of the many valuable resources provided through the Small Business Pro University, empowering business owners to learn, profit, and grow. Find out more at sbpro.u.com.